your one-stop shop for the latest news, noteworthy trends, and thought-provoking discussions across the industry. From hotels to short-term rentals to all things travel and hospitality, you'll find each episode equips you with the information that you need to start your week. Join us on Good Morning Hospitality every Wednesday, wherever you get your podcasts. Well, good morning.
Good morning and welcome back. Man, a week off.
I know.
I missed you.
I know. I missed you too. We'll share with everybody what was going on, but every which way I was trying to figure out how we could make it happen. How can we do this? How it would be so cool. Because I was working on a project with a company that we both kind of have worked with, in different ways.
Shout out. You're working with Curator. I interviewed
Yeah,
Curator. We do good
exactly. So I was in Key West last week and we were filming a video series for Curator hotels and resorts. And I mean, it was like it was a full blown thing. We were very busy, and we were filming from 7 a.m. until 9 o'clock at night. So I was not really visible on social media just because there was a lot to handle.
You were working. I saw those behind the scenes. That was long days, a lot going on.
There was a lot going on. I think I averaged 4 hours of sleep a night, but it's all right. All totally worth it. And so that's why as I looked at the schedule, I was like, I can't step away and go on the live. Yeah. And so that's where it was. But
it all worked out because I couldn't make it either. So either way, we had a week off to recharge and let you all miss it. And Christopher, we missed you too. So thank you for watching.
Definitely. Let us know, by the way, whoever's on, let us know where you are joining from, because we are back. As you can see, we're back in our home offices, our home studios.
We're back in. And I was traveling around. I got to go to Palm Beach this weekend.
Yeah, tell us about that.
And a project, so that was fun.
Cool.
Can't give away what I was doing, but I got to say some of the best hotels in Palm Beach at the Colony Hotel, which is a beautiful boutique hotel, and go over to the Breakers Hotel, which is one of the best, largest historic hotels in the country, if not the world.
Amazing.
And just impressive places to hang out. And most exciting, I'm going to announce it here. I wasn't going to announce it, but we just signed the papers last night. The next Hospitality Mentor Networking event is going to be July 10th.
Oh my gosh.
2 key Michelin award winning Mayfair House Hotel and Garden.
This is amazing.
So July 10th, if you're going to be in Miami, the tickets will go on sale starting tomorrow. Get your early bird tickets.
Is this your way of planting the seed to be like, Sarah, since you've been coming to South Florida so often,
maybe if you happen to be around July 10th, it might be good.
We might be able to make something happen.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun the last 2. This is the 3rd one. It'll be the best one yet.
I love it.
Like 150 people at the last 2 each. So it's been a lot of fun.
Awesome, by the way.
Yeah,
that's
all good. All people in hospitality. So cruise, hotel, restaurant, vacation rentals. We all want people in the same room getting together.
Can we take a moment to just I'm going to take a moment to acknowledge everything that you do. You are a powerhouse. You are putting on events. You are consulting with different properties. You've got your social media is on point. You've got a family and kids, and you're doing a lot. And it's awesome.
I'll take it. Thank you very much. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to me. And we get to do this show together every Wednesday.
Always fun. Always fun. Well, if you
are ready, we should bring the news. I'm ready. Let's do it.
We should bring the news. Hilarious.
Intro. Let's bring the news.
Maybe this might be a new thing. So bringing the news here. I love this article. You had actually shared it with me, but this is something I've been preaching for some time, and now they're just doing a bit of a deeper dive in this. But Gen Z is giving a surprising boost to some hotels. So Gen Z, do you know what years those are born?
I did. I looked it up. 1997 to 2012. So people born 1997 to 2012.
That makes me feel so old. Anyway, so Gen Z. So we're basically, I remember just the conversation being for the longest time, oh, what about millennials? And it's no, millennials have spending power. And what hotels are really finding is that Gen Z are really defying stereotypes. Normally, younger generations don't necessarily have disposable income, or they're not spending it on travel just because they're either saving up for a home or this or that, or whatever. And Gen Z, they're finding they're they're spending on hotels. They're also spending on their trips, which I thought was
Yes.
really great. Very cool. So yeah, their age is 8 to 18. How awesome is that?
That's pretty cool. So what does
Yeah.
it say is like these people born 97 to 2012 are now
Mhm.
spending, but not like cheap stuff. They're going out, they're
Yeah.
spending good things, they wanna have unique experiences. It is really cool to see them doing those things,
Mhm.
and not just like, "Oh, I'm gonna skimp and just, like, stay in a small, tiny room, the cheapest place I can find." They want to spend up and have the
Yeah.
so they're cutting in other areas of their life to make sure they can spend when they're traveling.
And I thought this was interesting. In the article, they were basically saying, which is wild to think, they were part of a generation that wasn't allowed to travel in their formative years because of the pandemic.
Mhm.
So that's why, which is what a valid point. And
Makes
so
sense.
they've really developed an appreciation for it. And I mean, they would rather cut other items in their life to be able to afford to go and travel. So it's really interesting that you've got, some of these, even like Accor, for example, big international brand. They have even come out and said that the Gen Z is a crucial part of their or significant part of their customer base. So we're
Yeah.
seeing it across the board.
And it's growing, and they're growing, as said, at a pace like a Generator and Freehand hotels, which are here in Miami. I've seen them here, are
Mhm.
always busy, and they said they're growing fast. And in the cities like Amsterdam, Miami, Barcelona, Madrid, and New York. So major cities going to
Yeah.
travel, spending it up. And the Freehand here, I'll give them a shout. They have one of the best bars called the Broken Shaker. It's always winning awards across the
Ooh,
country. So it's a unique hotel, and people are hanging out there.
yeah. Oh, so this another I thought this was really interesting. The what the article said is that a lot of people kind of think like, oh, Gen Z, they're they don't have it together, whether it's the younger generation, whether they just seem um culturally different than, other generations. But I thought they actually found that youth unemployment, so that would be technically considered Gen Z, is the lowest that it's been since 1991.
Yeah.
So that means more and more youth or Gen Z are actually employed, and that's not just in the United States, but it's across many countries around the world.
Something I saw that was very cool.
Hmm.
Look, there's so many ways to make money online and gig
Yeah,
economy and all these things. So a
yeah,
lot of people in Gen Z, I'm starting to meet a lot of them and talk to them as they're coming up. Say,
yeah,
hey, Steve, we'll go travel someplace and we'll spend a month there. I was like, well, how do you make money and do things? Like, I'll just sign up for the local like food delivery apps and all these things. So I'll run a couple of those during the day and then have money to spend on my trip. And I'm
yeah.
always making money wherever I go when I'm not working at like my regular job where I'm freelancing on Fiverr or doing things online for other people. So it's not like you and I where we were stuck in a hotel doing things. This generation, I'm amazed by. They're figuring out how to make money all different ways to live the life they want to live.
Well, which is, I mean, it's indicative of the world that we're living in. We are just living in this different time that there are, because what is it, when we're talking about all these different gigs, I mean, a lot of
Mhm.
it's also just being tech savvy to kind of figure it out. So, I mean, we're talking about a
Yeah.
generation that really, as in their formative years, they were growing up with technology in the palm of their hands. And so they're like, oh, I just can do this to make it's very cool. It'll be very fascinating to see where and how the economy is just operating in the next 10 years. Because that's good.
10, like 5, I wanna see 5. That's where
Yeah.
I wanna see what's going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, you want to see five. No, it's so
Yeah.
true.
What's
Oh,
Jeremy
so
telling us? Hey, Jeremy. She said,
a lot just want super fast money and super fast everything, and they don't necessarily want to put in the work that
"Ooh, I don't know.
some
That's
other.
that's a tricky one, Jeremy."
I
Might
I
be.
I do actually agree with him. I do think, but I think that also kind of goes across the board in general. A lot of people, they want like the end results in general without
Yes.
necessarily doing the work. But I've seen that. So that's definitely a
I think
good
it's
point,
also
Jim.
part is, like, technology happens so fast, right? In the technology world, everything's quick. I can do this very quickly. I can make this happen very quickly. I can
Yeah.
change this very quickly. And I think
I-
that's where some people in the real world get a little frustrated. They're so used to living in the digital world where everything happens quickly. So they're
So
starting to merge now. Those worlds are starting to merge with AI
totally.
helping make things much faster. I talk a lot about that a lot. Like you asked me how I can be that efficient. A lot of
Yeah.
new tools. A lot of
Yeah.
things
No, this
helping.
is true. This is so true. And I love, by the way, that we brought this up because after filming in Key West, I went to the complete opposite corner of the country and I spoke at a travel conference on
In
Friday. Yeah, called TravelCon.
at
And
Seattle,
basically,
right?
yeah,
Key West to
Portland.
Seattle, Portland.
Portland,
Amazing.
so almost Seattle, but yeah, pretty close to it. So it was in Portland, and it was a event for travel influencers and or aspiring influencers, and I got to see a lot of people that I've known in the industry for some time. And I had this realization, I started building my brand in 2012. So what year is it now? Like we're
12 years
looking
ago. Yeah.
12 years. And then I'm there and, got to share some interesting insight on that. But I definitely it took years for me to build certain things. And I'm there and I'm talking to individuals who maybe in the past year or two, their stuff went viral on TikTok or this or that. And now they're like part of the conversation. And so the depth, so to speak, of their brand, they may have a lot of numbers, but there may not necessarily be a lot of depth because it might have been a fluke thing that just not to say
Yep.
their content isn't good, it's just it's a different timeline. So again, bringing up Jeremy's point, you've got them. They're like, well, I just went viral overnight, and now I have 100,000 followers, and it's like, do you know what you want to do when you grow up?
Yeah. Well, it's different, right? Like I like this
Yeah,
marketing part because I've been studying it more as I'm working on building out what I'm doing. And
yeah,
back when we started, it was kind of like almost when you had the followers, it was like an email list. Like you would send it out, you would hope some see it,
hmm,
and you would get a percentage of them doing what you need.
yeah,
Now it's all about what they like, what is their preference, and that's what the
yeah,
algorithms serve up. So if somebody likes a certain thing, they're gonna maybe pop off with 1 million views on their
yeah,
first video. So it's interesting to
totally,
see how it works
totally.
now. But
We should,
anyhow, we're
anyway,
sidetracking. Gen Z,
sidetrack.
keep going.
No, but it's good. I mean, it's great because again, that applies to all of us in different countries around the world. So that was worthwhile to
Yes.
do that dive
No,
in.
I
But
like it. I like it.
Marriott, I love this. They have just opened bookings on Almare. I guess it's Almare, right?
Yeah, Almare. Mhm.
Yeah, a luxury collection. It's an adult all-inclusive resort. And what was cool about this, because obviously we've talked about the bigger brands getting in on all-inclusives, but this is specifically luxury all-inclusive, which I think is a
New level.
huge,
Yes.
yeah. And so they're going to be they're taking reservations starting for November of this year, which is just kind of it's perfectly timed for the holiday season. Um, but the big takeaway from this is the luxury all-inclusive, because there is a market for that. I've stayed at luxury all-inclusives, and I was spoiled actually because I kind of got introduced to all-inclusives through the luxury market, and then I went to a regular all-inclusives. I was like, "Oh, this is different." You
Yes.
know?
Mhm.
So
Yeah, if you're watching, do you like traveling to all inclusives? Or if you're listening to this live, let us know in the comments, or you can just give it a thumbs up if you like traveling that way. But I think more and more, like you said, as I have a family, I like that style. It's like when you go on a cruise, everything's included. I don't have to worry about pulling anything extra out.
mhm,
Maybe some drinks are more, or you get packages that way. But I like knowing, like, all right, I don't have to worry about how much this bill is going to be
yeah,
after my kids want to reorder 5 different things. And I
totally.
want to get a couple extra things. I like that it's
Yeah.
all about.
I'm a fan of all inclusives. I mean, obviously, there are so many different ways that you can travel. But I like to, again, as you mentioned, that you just don't have to worry about it. It's not like, oh gosh, oh, this or that or nickel. I mean, again, it may not be the way I want to travel every time I travel,
Right.
but I definitely enjoy a good all-inclusive that I'm there. I don't have to think about anything else. Everything is kind of at my fingertips.
Mhm.
And yeah, again, if when it's done right, you're not, oh, this is actually an extra surcharge. Because that's the one thing I don't like about all-inclusive. Be all-inclusive. Don't be
Yes.
all-inclusive and then it's like, oh, but if you want to order
From this restaurant, it's a specialty restaurant. That's an
yeah,
extra
no.
price.
No, 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 no. Homie, don't play like that. Nope. It is You're welcome, by the way. You are welcome.
I
I was
like
just
it.
saying, if I paid for it already, that's what we're doing. Anything else can be extra, but yeah. Um, oh, Jeremy said here, all inclusives are great when there's nothing else to do on the island, for example. Otherwise, I don't need that option and prefer exploring dining and I totally agree with you. It's not every time, but it is a nice option, especially when you've got families and you've got grandparents and grandkids traveling together. It can be a good option for that.
That is very true. But I like it. I like seeing that they're going that way. We had talked about it a couple of weeks ago with their first all-inclusive, the JW, and I think Cancun we talked about. So
Yeah, and this is
they're
gonna be
going.
in Isla Mujeres.
Ooh, fancy. I
There you
like
go.
it.
I prac
Almare and Isla Mujeres.
I
General
practice.
Manager Xavier Pineda. Let's go.
I can't. I can't. You're ridiculous. Well, anyway, we are working on our accents. Please do not judge us. So, by the way, we got a couple topics in here about your home state, Florida.
Oh, it's exciting to see all the news coming out of Florida.
Yeah, it's exciting, and I will say, as somebody that does not live in Florida, but who has been in Florida, I think, I don't know, 6 times in the past 6 months, there is an energy going on in the state that is palpable. It is busy. It's like the economy is thriving, businesses are growing, development is happening. I mean, every time I've been there in the past 6 months, I'm like, "Oh, there is a different energy going on in Florida." So, I take off my hat to you.
Oh, Florida, future Florida woman coming.
Whoa, 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 Florida woman. Whoa, let's
Get
just
out of
pump the brakes on
California.
that.
Come on over.
Oh my gosh. So what this particular article was actually talking about how Florida hotels are beating the national average in pricing power and revenue growth, which makes sense. Again, just seeing the sheer volume of individuals there. And I love these destinations, by the way, that outpaced the US national average. The Florida Keys, where I just was,
Just were. Yep.
Palm Beach, isn't that where you just were?
I just were. Yep. Where I just were. I just
Where
was.
you just were. Yeah. Miami, where you live.
Yep.
Sarasota, where I know a lot of people live. I still have not been over there.
That's great.
Fort Lauderdale, Orlando. Again, every time I'm in Orlando, it's huge. Tampa, I'll be there in 3 weeks. Melbourne and Jacksonville. So again,
Yeah.
like
Hotel investors are going all in here, so they see these numbers do not stop. There's multiple cranes just out my office door here,
yeah,
building more hotels, a lot of condo hotels because people want to have a place to
yes,
stay and live that lifestyle while
totally.
also making some money. So it's just amazing to see the amount of growth that's happening just in Miami, and all of Florida is now is booming. It's just a wild thing to see. Like I think I walked outside, we counted the other day 23 cranes, so 23 new buildings going up just in the downtown area.
That's insane.
Yep,
That
it's
is
amazing.
insane.
You
Yeah.
have a lot of fun things going on, right? So now there's more and more activities. Like a lot of people traveling to see Messi play soccer down here, and David Beckham's walking around the
Mhm.
streets. There's a lot of celebrities. And imagine that's how it feels like when you were in Hollywood, maybe like 10 years ago. Like there's just like
Yeah.
everyone is like the center of the world walking around
Oh,
doing those
totally.
things.
Well, and also the type of hotels. So obviously nationally, the conversation about hotels and hotel growth is really all about mid-scale, premium economy, extended stay. Oh my gosh, everybody's talking about all of that. But Florida, they are doubling down on full service hotels because that is what they're finding people are wanting. And so
Yeah.
it's interesting that even the type of hotels that they're building out are a bit different
Ultra,
than
yeah, it's ultra luxury going up
yeah,
everywhere. We talk it next time you're here, we'll just walk down the street and just see like the Rosewood and
yeah,
Amman and Bulgari and all these hotels that are just there sitting there. It's amazing that they're about to open soon. So it's
yeah.
exciting.
It is very exciting. So, if Florida is not on your list, you should add it
Yeah.
because there's a lot happening.
And ask me or Sarah. Sarah's been here enough now. We'll happy to give you some advice on where to go travel and stuff.
We could ask Steve, and I will just support whatever Steve says. That's you come in with the
Yeah.
specifics, and I will be your yes woman.
I like
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Deal.
That's what he said. So let's kind of talk about travel. So, oh my gosh, hold on. We actually have to have a serious talk about travel,
Okay.
or this part of travel, space travel,
Out of this world travel?
out of this
Whoa.
atmosphere travel.
Okay.
Steve,
Yes.
would you travel to outer space? Serious question.
At this current price, no. Would I if I could afford it? Yes, I would go up there. check out
Well,
what's
I
happening.
was actually trying to find the price. What was the price?
I think it's $250,000 a
Okay,
ticket, I
yeah.
think is what it
Oh, yeah,
is.
yeah, kinda like the submarine. I don't
Yeah.
need to go that far up or that far down. Like, we good. I'd rather go around. Like,
I
um,
think I want some more people to test it out. They had an interesting mix of people on this. So why don't we tell them what happened? So Blue
okay.
Origin successfully takes tourists to space after a nearly 2-year pause. So Blue Origin is whose company now? That is Amazon's company, right? That's Jeff
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Bezos.
Yeah, 'cause, he was on that. Here's my thing about solar travel or, like, space travel. Sorry, I have my solar eclipse
Yeah.
thing in front of me, which is what got me. Um, I I wanna be there, and I'm ready for the Jetsons. I just don't think we are, and every time I see an article come out that they're, "Oh, we're building a space hotel that'll be ready in 2 years." I'm like, "That ain't gonna be ready in 2 years." Like,
Yep.
where are all the things zipping around since 1969 when we first landed on the moon? If it were that easy, we would have been there, done that already. I'm just
Yeah. I
saying.
want to get some more reps in here. The
Yeah.
kids are a little young for me in case that explodes, you know.
None of that. None of
I'm just
that.
saying, but
That's
there,
too high
that's a
risk.
real thing. You think about it, right? Like I see SpaceX testing rockets. Some of them don't make it up to the
Yeah.
top, but this seems to be they take you to a different level of space. It's like the very edge,
Yeah, yeah, the very edge
what
of
they're
space,
calling it.
which to me is like, all right. You wanna go experience weightlessness? Like, go into, like, a chamber or
Yeah.
something and test it
It's
out at
they take them to the Kármán line, which is 62 miles above Earth's surface. That is often recognized as the boundary of outer space.
Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
No. Yeah, I
Yep.
mean, so here's but I will say this, look, obviously, I'm all for innovation. Anybody that knows me, definitely a fan of that, and I'm excited that they've kind of relaunched, and there were some cool people that ended up being on this particular recent launch that just happened
Yep.
this past Sunday. One of the ones that I liked is that they had, oh, what's his name here? The former, astronaut
Yeah,
who
Mr. Dwight.
yes, who would have been the first, African American, black astronaut, right?
Yep.
And he got passed over, and so I love that, like,
He got to go at 90 years old. Ed
yeah,
Dwight became the oldest person to soar to such heights.
I hope he didn't pay for that. I don't think he did, but I really
Probably
hope that
not.
he was, like, invited on that because that is super important. And I like that that got to happen, like, good for I mean, he must have,
Yes.
like, teared up.
I just think anyone who goes up there, so that's the one thing that gets me is everyone who's been up there has said, like, once you're up there, you realize, like, we're all on this planet together. It's not
Mhm.
borders and different countries. Like, when you're up there, it's all one big ball that we're traveling through
Yeah,
space on. And so I'm just like, that's where you get the spaceship Earth from
yeah,
Epcot, that ride. Like, we're all
yeah,
on this spaceship just floating through Earth together. So
yeah,
I think it changes people's perspective. And, we could use that, I think, in these days. Right now, a lot of craziness on the globe
totally.
where people could see we're all in it together.
Totally. I actually love that you said that because that reminds me of why first of all, why I always sit in a window seat on a plane. And I've always thought that way because I was traveling a lot as a child. And so I remember even just as a kid looking out of the window and like seeing the earth and being like everything is so different from 30,000 feet up in the sky, and in this particular case, however high that is up near the atmosphere.
Yeah, no, it's true, and I think we should all start thinking about that. That's why I encourage people to travel, and you travel, and that's why we talk about it so much. And all of us here that are watching, we all travel a lot, and we get to see there's so many different kinds of people. Like I just talked to somebody who's never seen the ocean before. They've never left the middle of the country, right? I'm just like,
I
this is
remember you
crazy.
said that.
Yeah,
That's
it's crazy to me.
crazy.
Yeah, so to me, it's just
So
like,
wild.
how can you learn about so many different people and be accepting of so many different things? But
Yeah.
anyhow, different topic for a different
Different
day.
topic, but definitely cool. And you know what? I will say this, as much as I was kind of like "Meh, meh," space travel. I mean, look, I'm always excited when we're doing something new. I just want it to be safe and
Safe is
and realistic. I think when we kind of have these bombastic titles of like, there's going to be a space hotel in 2 years. I remember when they actually said it was 2000 and
yeah,
or
I saw that.
yeah,
Yep.
2025. That's next year. Where are
Yeah,
we at?
David Gretman here in Miami was a part of it. They were trying to open like their nightclub or restaurant up there. But there was
No.
there's a space camp called Orbite that was created
Who are
by
these
Philippe
people living
Stark.
up there? Like,
I
oh my
don't know.
gosh.
But there's a one, I think it was a Philippe Stark and a couple others called Orbite, which was like a summer camp, a space camp for adults, so they could prepare to see like if they really liked it. and they walk them through all the G's and all this stuff with luxury amenities. So
What needs to
we'll
happen
see.
first is we need to see a colony of people live up there, because it's so we can talk about a hotel up there, or a restaurant or a nightclub or whatever, but it's like, who's going to be serving? Who's going to be cleaning? Who's going to be doing what? Like, I got
All right.
questions. All
We'll
right.
get Jeremy, first space concierge. We're going to send you up there, man.
Oh, there you go, Jeremy. I love that. Okay. Moving on, over tourism. So this year, big year for international travel, and of course, over tourism was a huge topic leading up to the pandemic, and then after that, obviously, people were just like, just travel. But now we're talking about over tourism again, and this was kind of interesting. Have you? So this island that was coming out that was saying, "Hey, watch out," was Mallorca, the Spanish island off of Spain. It's a huge party destination, and they've been really putting a lot of efforts into their marketing slogan, which is basically less tourism, more life, which reminds me of what Miami was doing for spring break.
Well, yeah, spring break was very different, I think. We want
Yeah.
people to come. We
Yeah.
just want people who are going to follow the rules and follow the law and treat the island well. But here it sounds like they just want less people visiting,
Yeah.
being hard on life. So I don't know if that's Catalan that they're speaking. Menis turisme, mes vida. So,
I'll let you do that.
It's interesting to see where they're. I think also too, this comes from like what we were talking about, like on TikTok and all these things, where all of a sudden a place becomes the hotspot. It's in everybody's feed. Everybody wants to go there, and doesn't treat it very well.
Yeah. Well, I thought what was interesting in this, some of the ways that they kind of are like putting their foot down, so to speak, about over tourism, they're limiting the number of cars for hire, for example, which I thought was just a simple way to do that. I think other destinations have charged, like a visitation fee, and isn't necessarily much, but something as slight as that can really send the message of, hey, like,
wasn't Venice doing that too? We talked about Venice.
Yeah,
But a tax not coming to Venice.
I know Portugal has definitely had some challenges over the years. I don't remember what they're doing right now. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It's again, kind of going back to this whole Gen Z topic. It's like, I want it and I want it now, especially if you see it online. And it's like, okay, but let's understand the social ramifications, and like, is the destination, like, do they have the infrastructure to handle the throngs of people that can come there in the summertime?
Yeah, like I want to go to Greece, but now I'm seeing like, they show like Instagram versus reality, right? And it's like, oh, the beautiful view, but then I see it gets packed on the streets and it's like shoulder to shoulder in certain things. Man, I don't want to go to something like that. I'd rather find something different, unique, but I don't know. We'll see. There's certain things I want to see before my time's up here.
Yeah, before do not talk like that before your time is
up.
Before
I get to my 100, like there's so many places in the world that I want to
go.
Yeah,
there are. This is true. This is very true. So yeah, interesting. Like, let us know what you've seen, if there are destinations that you've seen that have been doing something unique to sort of counter balance over tourism, or at least maybe minimize the tourists that are coming. So always let us know that. But again, this other topic, which should have probably been with the whole Florida topic, I thought this was cool. Florida actually has drawn the record number of tourists. Again, Florida. What is going on?
Yeah, 40 million people visited Florida in the first quarter of this year, which is bananas. It's crazy to see what's going on over there.
What I like too is that they talked obviously not only about domestic travel, which certainly makes sense to us, but also international travel. So international travelers coming to Florida is up, and I think that's why we wanted to talk about this. Is again, it's showing that we have more international travel that's happening across the board, and people are coming and they're spending, and this is huge, especially when we have been so focused on recovery over the last several years. Now we are in the full swing of it.
Yeah, and it just shows, like, if your state is great at promoting tourism, we spend a lot of dollars paying for Florida tourism to like go market our state out to the world, and it's starting to pay off, because now Miami International Airport, busiest year it's ever had.
Yeah.
Cruise ship port. busiest year it ever had, and the cruise ships are getting
Oh.
bigger and bigger and bigger. So more and more people are coming
Huge,
to the
they
port.
are, and they have to stay somewhere beforehand,
Yeah,
like
so they're
the
staying in the
travelers.
hotels or the vacation rentals and in the restaurants, and it's good for everybody. The challenge now is going to see like how it's going to be with inflation. I saw a lot of people now. I saw a report come from our friends over at the American Hotel Lodging Association say 51% of the people they ask are thinking about travel now and where they're going to stay versus just booking it. They're like taking their time now. So I'm
Yeah.
curious to see it. That came out yesterday, so I was reading that.
Well, and then our friends over at Allianz also said that when they were looking for summer travel, they were finding the average nights that are being booked are between 5 and 8 days. So slightly longer trips. So that would make sense why it might be a little bit more thoughtful and
Hmm.
choosing accordingly because they are going for these longer trips. These aren't just these micro vacations that are just, a couple days on a weekend or something like that. They're like, we're going to go and we're going to spend some money doing it. So they want to make sound choices.
Yeah, but I love seeing it. Keep coming to
Yes.
Florida. We love hosting you. Our vacation rental company is thriving, so keep on coming. The hotel clients are doing well.
I
Uh,
can't.
we love having you here.
You are so funny. You're ridiculous. But yes, I mean, it's a good time for sure. Okay, real time recap. Being mindful of our time today.
Yes, we're a little over. Well,
That's all right.
you were traveling everywhere. I haven't been to the Keys in a couple of years, I'd say. How was it down in the Keys? Anything you can point out?
Okay, I'm gonna do a shout out to the 3 different hotels that we were at because they were all notable in different ways. So I happened to be staying at a property called the Southernmost Beach Resort. And so basically, it's a resort right there on the southernmost beach, right next to the southernmost point, which is a famous buoy in Key West. It was very cool. They had these cool cottages. They also had like a hotel part, a motel part. So there are so many different ways that you can stay in that property. And the service there was it was just you felt like you were coming in and hanging out with like a family, like an extended family. It was wonderful. Really, they did such a great job, and I really loved the little cottage I stayed in. I felt like I was coming home at night. It was cute. I was
That's
like, "Oh,
so
I'm
cool.
going home."
I love that.
It was very cool. So they took these old cottages and they converted them into like little, um, you know, mini like buildings of a part of the hotel. And then we also were at Ocean Key Resort and Spa, which was on the other side of the island, and they're just like in the hub of everything. You've got Duval Street, there's Mallory Square, where every night they do this special celebration for sunsets every night because it's a perfect sunset every night of the week. Which again, just a really fun property, very cool decor on the inside. And then the Marker Hotel, which happens to be located in a little bit more of the older historic district at mile marker 0 of Highway 10. Wait,
Yeah.
yes,
Yes.
Highway 10. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yes, yeah, Highway 10. So I'm making sure my facts are right here. Uh, Fun. How cool. Like I
Or
love that you
95,
get
I-95, I think. Yeah.
of
Anyhow,
95. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because the 10 goes
or
east
south.
west and
Yes.
95. Yeah, you're right. Of 95. I couldn't remember. I was like, that didn't sound right when I said it. Um, but again, great example of how each of these hotels not far from each other, but very different experience. And it's so cool to see different properties just winning and having a thank you. US one.
Yes,
Thank
Christopher. You
you.
see, we didn't have enough coffee. Not enough Biscayne coffee today, Christopher. Thank you.
No, no, I'm still working on my energy drink here.
We got to give a shout
So
out to Jen Barnwell, president of
yes,
Curator Hotels and Resorts. She's been on my podcast. Maybe we should get her on here. She's so cool,
she's
nice, and
so
she's
cool.
doing something awesome now. So
We should definitely do that. I
love
think I
working
think
with her.
yeah, they've got some cool things up in the works, so we should totally have them on. So Jen Barnwell, also Jen Parks, all the Jens. It was great. So shout out to the whole team there. They really knocked it out of the park.
I love it. Well, my real time recap is I got to go with the Colony Hotel in Palm Beach. I got to stay there,
Nice.
working on a project, and their branding is on point. I'm going to write an article about this because it just shows
Okay.
they're an independent hotel. Everywhere you look, they have their brand, not in corny ways and just little touches all throughout the room.
Yeah.
And I think I counted 38 different pieces that were branded
Okay.
everywhere on the property. So I'm going to show this in pictures because I was like amazed. Everywhere I looked, they have a cool mascot, Johnny Brown, the spider monkey that's hidden throughout the property.
my gosh,
which
that's
is
too
very
funny.
cool because he was a famous Palm Beach resident back in the 1900s. This monkey,
Yeah,
and just how they do everything is awesome. They really lean into their pinkness, the pink
yes,
Land Rover that
yes.
drives you around, and
That's cool though. How
Volvos and
fun.
buggies, and awesome. I mean, if you live that Palm Beach life that you see for a couple of days when you're there, so shout
That
out to
is
them.
cool. That is just I love that. Great property. So do we do you have this hospitality quote ready?
I don't, but we could read it.
I
I was just
was
producing
I
our
was
show today.
by the way, yeah. Steve is producing our show today, so I had to like test that out. So this I like this quote.
Yeah,
It takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. If you think about that, you'll do things differently. And that's by Warren Buffett.
it is very true.
I
You can
mean,
do everything right, and then it's over quickly.
it's crazy. Like that's such a here, let me see if I can post a comment here. I'm gonna do it like that.
And I
Oh,
think you see it all the time.
yeah.
Got you here.
Oh, there we go. There we go. That's one
A
way
lot
to do
now
it.
with celebrities, right? We see it with celebrities falling apart, people that we idolized growing up. Now things coming out that don't look
Yeah.
very good.
I what I liked about this as well, when I was speaking at TravelCon, I talked about branding and I talked about building your personal brand and social media. And it's like my whole thing was build the brand for the career that you want. And we also talked about, it's this fine line, especially in social media. You want to be relatable, you want to be cool, but there still needs to be this element of being professional because when I
Yep.
look at my, sometimes I'll look and I'll see who happens to be watching whatever I'm putting out there. Uh, I- they could be hiring me for a future a project, or maybe they do hire me. And the last
Yep.
thing I want to do is say something off color, and they're like, "We don't want to work with Sarah again," just to be relatable or make a joke. So, yeah, this is your brand, your personal brand, the brand of your property. It takes a while to build that trust, and it's very quick that you can lose it. So, I'm
Yep.
very serious about branding.
I agree with you. I think it comes how you dress, how you speak, how you act. All those things are taken into account. And my dad gave me some good advice that goes with this. He's like,
Oh,
never
wow.
write anything that you wouldn't want to see on the front page of a newspaper because it might end up there one day. And so I was like, you know what?
That's great.
So anything I put out there, I'm always thinking about like, how are people going to use this or take this or put it out there? Because it's hard to create content every day and make sure that it's value to people and doesn't offend
Uh,
somebody. It's hard.
that is really good advice. It's super simple, but really, really, and I love it because I definitely live that way, but I think not a lot of people think like that.
And
So
privately too, text messages, WhatsApp messages, all these things that we think are private will end up somewhere if they need it, right? So
I always say, do not text it if you do not want it screenshotted and shared.
yeah, so don't write anything that you would never want to see on the front
Yeah.
page of a newspaper. I think that's a good advice, and I use that all the time.
Yeah. Shout out to Daddy Turk.
We'll take it.
That was weird.
Well, we had a good show. We're over. We got
Yeah.
our longest show, I think. We have no one producing us and telling us what to
Say, hey,
tighten
wrap
up.
it up. No wrapping it up.
Will,
But
you're on
no,
the road. Thanks for watching from the road.
yes, thank you. And look, I mean, we wanted to take our time with it because we weren't here last week. But work happens, life happens. And so we always appreciate when you guys do tune in with us. So
Yep.
thank you. And stay tuned because there's so much more exciting stuff coming. I can't wait.
Excited to
Oh,
share with you, and we will see you next week.
see you then.